Morning. Sorry, I meant to shut off my music before I started talking and just didn't get it done. So, Laoshi Lawrence McElroy here this morning with another Facebook Live session, of course, for the greater community, but specifically set up for the folks who are missing their Monday morning, 10 a.m. Tai Chi and Qigong program at Sachem Public Library in Holbrook, New York, on Long Island. So this morning, we're going to do a little warm-up, kind of a standard for what our focal point will be this morning, and that's going to be something from the Five Animal Frolics. Maybe you guessed if you saw our post on our Facebook page yesterday morning, and the image that we found, sort of a vintage image of three bears dancing, and the question was posed. Well, it was pointed out this is a hint for what the focus would be. So we are going to do bear walking from the Bear Frolic section of the Five Animal Frolics. Lot different than a lot of the other things that we do. So I hope you'll enjoy it. I like it a lot. So we'll talk about that a little bit as we get into that. And the warm-up, again, from the 9 temple exercises, advance and retreat. Good morning, Colette. Because it's very important as we're doing the Animal Frolics movement that we're mindful of knees and toes in alignment. And I always feel that advance and retreat sort of sets up that mindset as we go into the exercise. So it's one of the warm-ups that we do tend to repeat. Otherwise, we do our best to shuffle in different stuff, just like different shirts. And so this is the 2017 edition of World Tai Chi and Qigong Day t-shirts. I meant to bring the list down so I could tell you how many of these I have left that you haven't seen. Let's just say a lot. So anyway, so there's that. I just want to mention no new word from the Sachem Public Library website. Good morning, Linda. As far as how they're proceeding with their openings. Last week I talked about, and then later in the day we posted on the Water Tiger School Facebook page sort of where they are in their process. And they're doing a 4-phase reopening, not the same as the state's 4-phase, but they've set up 4 phases. They are in their phase 2, which is curbside pickup. Phase 3 will be a partial reopening of the library with social distancing rules in place, and phase 4 will be allowing some programs to restart with social distancing rules in place. There might be a glitch in that as far as our program goes, because right now gyms and recreational facilities, so more or less exercise classes, have been pulled out of the states, New York State, forward, phase 4. So though I've been talking about planning on reopening the Water Tiger School studio with phase 4, that is no longer a possibility. And I haven't checked for a couple of days to see if there's any more official word as to what's going to happen with that. There are rumors. So I don't have a date for the studio reopening, and that fact that exercise program businesses have been pulled out of phase 4 may delay the library bringing exercise programs back in even further than it already is. Can't say for sure. So anyway, so there's that. And I think that's probably about it news-wise. So I'm going to start in this position and talk a little bit about the bear before I get up and move into the bear. Well, actually, no, never mind. Best laid plans and all that. I'm going to do the warm-up. So advance and retreat, I'll probably come back to talk about moving into the bear. Or talk about the bear as I start to do a little shake, do a little warm-up. So let's just start with the feet shoulder wide. We'll do our little shake. So as you know, the Five Animal Frolics, well, hopefully you know, as the Five Animal Frolics are Qigong set, an energy work set that is a moving Qigong. For most, not all, not everybody does walks in the way that we do. Some people do like a single step forward and then come back. We actually, in our approach to the animal frolics, officially we walk a circle. I always present them in line. So I'm going to back away from bear frolics for a moment and the animal frolics for a moment and talk about advance and retreat. So advance and retreat from the 9 temple exercises. A lot of people use the 9 temple exercises for a warm-up set for Tai Chi, but it's not specifically a Tai Chi set. It's a Qigong set, an energy work-based set that also mixes some physical training aspects within it, if you will, because there are, squats and low positions and that sort of thing within the set. But advance and retreat, in our approach, is the last of the 9. And the feet are parallel and shoulder wide. And there's a shift and a turn and everything. There's breath, and there's talking about advancing and retreating and that sort of thing. But it is basically designed to activate around the belt channel. And by the turns that we're going to do, we sort of activate that belt channel that goes between the acupuncture point for the Xia Dantian and the acupuncture point for the Mingmen. So you're getting some Xia Dantian activation, you're getting some Shen Yu or Essence Door, some kidney activation with this set. It also helps to strengthen the legs, the knees, the lower back, and loosen the lower back. As well as, and again, this is why we do this particular exercise before the animal frolics, because of the way that we're moving and twisting the upper body, we need to make sure that we're not pulling the knees with us as we twist. So toes are forward and knees are forward. So really building that body awareness of where the knees and the toes are. By the way, the internal organs that benefit from this twist in the torso, digestive organs, the liver, the kidneys, etc. Pancreas, is pancreas on the list? I'm actually going to cheat here. Yeah, pancreas and bladder are on the list. So, feet probably a little bit beyond shoulder wide. I'll talk about an image and a breath as we get going, but just breathe and focus more on the movement to start with, and then start to bring the other stuff into it. A lot of times when I'm doing this in an actual public setting, people will get a little bit lost as I start to have them put the breath in a particular pattern or think about a particular image. So don't let those become distractions. Just make sure that the movement is there. And there are 2 separate movements. And what I mean by that is that we're going to have a turn and we're going to have a shift. And they're separate. So I turn and then I shift. It's not turning and shifting at the same time. Though there are exercises that do that, this isn't one of them. Knees, toes, same direction throughout. If you don't do that, I always point to St. Charles orthopedists. They're really good at what they do. So I know it's called advance and retreat, and the A comes before the R, but we're going to start with the R, retreat. So I'm going to settle my weight into my left foot. You can settle it into your right, whatever you want to do, because we're going to, balance the sides. And as my weight is in this foot, I'm going to turn and face that direction. Now be careful here. If you turn your hips, you're going to turn your knees. So maybe you have a little bit of hip flexibility and knee flexibility, and you can turn the hips a little bit without turning the knees, fine. Then you start to move the mid-torso a little bit until you feel your range of motion cease there, which then pulls into the hips, which then pulls into the knees. And then you move up into the chest and the shoulders. And you might have some more flexibility there, depending upon how flexible you are in the spine. And I have students that have Harrington rods, stainless steel rods up their back, so there's not a lot of spine separation. So what you do when you run out of upper body, upper torso flexibility, is you turn your head and you look that way. So if you don't have a lot of spinal flexibility, it's going to be most of my torso forward because I don't want to twist my knee, and my head turned that direction. And for some, maybe even just in the peripheral vision. But here we go. Weights in that foot. Going to press down on that foot to fill the other foot. Keep breathing until it's full. And then I'm going to turn. So notice I'm backing away. I'm retreating. Shift and turn. That's one pair. Shift and turn. 1.5 pairs. Shift, there's 2 pairs. And turn. If you want a breath pattern, you can breathe when you have to, but I like to do an inhalation on the shift for retreat, and on the exhalation, the turn. Shift and turn. That's 3. Shift and turn. And again, notice I'm moving backwards, so the image is shift and turn. There's 4. Something's coming toward me. Something is expanding. And turn. Shift and turn. There's 5. Shift. So I'm becoming yin to something's yang. Shift. Oops, sorry. Turn and shift and turn. Shift. That was 6. So halfway home. And turn. Shift and turn. Shift. Feet parallel, knees forward and turn. Shift and turn. There's 7. Shift and turn. And I might be a little bit off on the count. And turn and shift and turn. Breathing when you have to, but maybe an inhalation and turn. Shift and turn. But I'm relatively close to 8 pairs. Shift and turn. Shift and turn. Shift and turn. I just let my arms hang and turn and shift and turn. 9. Shift, might have been 10. And turn. Shift and turn. Going to call that 10. So just 4 more retreats. There's 2 of the 4. Turn. Last retreat in this direction and turn. And last retreat here. No turn, no change of weight. So I am in my left leg, but in what has been sort of where I've been going, looking in the direction from whence I came, but we're going to switch now to advance. So I'm going to move that direction on the shift, moving forward, advancing. By the way, in retreat, we want to pay attention to where the advance may be. And in the advance, we want to pay attention to where the retreat may be. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit after we finish the second half of the exercise. Breathe when you have to. I'll suggest a different breath pattern here. And we'll talk about the image as we get going as well. So, going to shift, looking in that direction. So I'm moving forward, I'm advancing. And turn, shift, and turn. That's 1 pair. Shift, and turn, shift, and turn. Some people like to put their hands in a static position. Shift and turn. That's not me. Shift and turn. I just like letting my arms dangle. Shift and turn. Shift and turn. I think that's 4. Shift and turn. Maybe now I'm exhaling on the shift and inhaling on the turn. And turn and shift and turn. Shift and turn. It's about 5. Shift and turn. Shift and turn. Halfway home on advance. Shift and turn. And here something is retreating and I'm filling the space. I'm advancing. And turn. Something's becoming yin. And turn. I'm becoming yang. I am expanding into that open space. And turn. Shift and turn. Shift and turn. We're going to call that 8. Shift and turn. Shift and turn. 9. Shift and turn. Shift and turn. That's 10. So 4 more advances. Shift and turn. 3 more advances. And shift. 2 more advances. Shift and turn. And last one, shift, turn and face the front and redivide the weight between the 2 feet. It's English, folks. I'm going to shake that out. So there you go, a little advance and retreat, really putting the focus on the knees. The bear is tricky with the knees, but not as tricky as some. Well, some aspects of the bear are more tricky than others, but bear walking is pretty straightforward. Well, we're going to be walking forward, but not, never mind. It's just words. I'm going to get another drink. So the Five Animal Frolics, our approach to the Five Animal Frolics brings in several aspects of our focus. The first really isn't part of the focus. It's just nice to know because each of the animal frolics have specific therapeutic qualities. And for the bear, its main therapeutic qualities deals with kidney function. So you have urinary and reproductive issues it can address. It helps to strengthen the spine, the shoulders, and the lower extremities. And it seems like there's something else, but I can't remember what it was. So that's sort of it, but specifically kidney function and kidney energy. So it's actually a really good frolic to be doing more in the winter than the summer because it's usually in the winter that our kidney energy is waning. But it's a great exercise. I think all of the animal frolics, regardless of their primary therapeutic qualities, also can help address issues with arthritis because of the way in which we move. So in our approach to the animal frolics, we need to keep in mind the nature of the animal and the spirit of the animal and sort of imbue our play and our attitude toward the play of the frolic with those 2 points. For the bear, the nature of the bear is that sort of soft exterior surrounding a great, powerful inner strength. So, think of those images of the bear that they're, lumbering along and, the flesh is just sort of, it almost seems like it's falling off their body. But, you just want to go up and hug them, but you don't because of that inner strength, right? Plus, no more wild pets. But anyway, so that's the nature. The spirit of the animal is its solidity, its sturdiness. The bear is all about earth energy. As a matter of fact, in our approach to the 5 animal frolics, it is the only animal that has a pre-movement movement, where we are actually drawing up earth energy for a bit before we move into the frolic itself. So before we do the bear walk, we're going to be drawing earth energy. And some of you might just have gone, oh, that just looks like fire and water mutually interact from taiji Qigong. And you're right, it is. It's the same movement, drawing up and drawing down. But we specifically have that idea of drawing energy up from the earth and settling it into the Xia Dan Tian before we begin the walk. So there's that. The movement is into the earth. So there's very much a downward movement, a bounce into the earth as we do all of the frolics. Even bear fighting, there's a heavy draw or a heavy pulse down into the earth, even though I'm extending forward. The other thing to keep in mind in physicality is when the hands take an active position, these are bear paws. And so I'm not doing, like you might remember, we started this sequence with the animal frolics with tiger and tiger walking. We had those sort of lightly formed claws. Here we have paws. And in between, during the pause, between the paws, what? The hands will be just relaxed, active but relaxed. But that is, for our various positions, that is the bear paw. So you have that. The breath is both in and out through the nose. Now, I urge you, if you're having a bad allergy day, to maybe not do this or to go get a tissue and really blow your nose before you do this. Because otherwise the bear is going to do it for you and you're not going to have a tissue over your nose when you do it. Because in a number of the bear frolics, and bear walking being one of them, you have a nice soft inhalation in through the nose. Let me get closer. And a forceful exhalation out the nasal passage. Repeated 3 times. So let me tell you, having a bad allergy day or have a summertime cold, it can get messy. So that's the breath. Another aspect of both the movement and the breath in the animal frolics is, generally speaking, through most of the frolics, they're not continuous movement and continuous breath. That you inhale and move, and there's a pause. And then you exhale and maybe move, maybe not. And then there's a pause. So there's a break between the movement and the breath. Finally, the chi focus for the bear. This one's a little simple. There's not a lot going on. Some of the animal frolics, you get complicated, like crane at different points. It's on different, like the inside of the arms at one point, outside of the arms at another point, that sort of thing, or wings for crane. For the bear, on the inhalation, it's settling the chi into, I think I need to blow my own nose, settling the chi into the Xia Dantian, not the acupuncture point. The actual Xia Dantian lies unaligned between the crown point of the head and the base of the pelvic bowl in the lower pelvic bowl itself. So somewhere around this height, but on that center line between the crown point of the head and the base of the pelvic bowl. So it's settled there, pooled there on the inhalation, and then on the exhalation it drives to the shoulders, or exhalations, as it were. So that's it. The nature is the softness on the outside, the inner strength. The spirit is its solidity, its steadiness, its sturdiness. The movement is downward into the earth. You have your bear paws, the chi focus on the inhalation to the Xia Dantian to the exhalation, driving to the shoulders and letting the movement take care of the rest of the chi distribution. So if you've done any of the animal frolics with me since whenever it was when we started doing this, the beginning of COVID, like a decade ago or something, no, March 23rd, you know that we ideally are stepping at 45s. Now, a lot of the times we set the ball of the foot down, switch to the heel, and then fill the foot. With the bear, that foot swings out and you place the whole foot on the earth. A little bit more forward weighted than back weighted. And you have your downward movement. And then you take another step, and there's a pause. And you have your downward movement. And you take another step, and I'm not doing the full movement and full activation, just to show you that I'm stepping flat-footed 45 to 45. 45 to 45. And by the way, when we finish our pass, there's a closing. And that closing looks like Pour Chi through the Bach Way from Water Tiger School's breathing set. So I'm going to move back a little unconnectedly. So we take that last step. We bring in the back foot as the arms open up, palms up. Turn to face the direction we've been walking. Coming fingertip to fingertip. And then bounce back in. It's a relatively simple close. Again, you take your last step, whatever frolic you're doing. The hands release from whatever they're doing. They turn palm up, back foot comes in. You center yourself in the direction you've been walking. Down, and a little rebound. So that's how we close the walk. So the bear frolics together, right, with everything, except I'm not drawing kidney energy yet because we're not doing the official walk yet. Sorry, I'm a little dry this morning. Gee, what a surprise. Lawrence needs a drink. So, check everything out. So, I'm going to be in a neutral position, arms sort of active but hanging. And as I step, again, more forward weighted than back weighted. I don't know what the split is. It's probably closer to maybe 80-20, but somewhere around the same, 75-25 as our fore stance. But of course, we're in a different position. The back foot is flat, as is the front foot. And we have our exhalation and our press down 3 times. A pause, and then release the hands as you're swinging that leg through. On the inhalation, pause. 3 downward bursts, bounces into the earth. 3 exhalations, a pause, a release and an inhalation. One more. Bring the back foot in, hands up, hands down. And we'll rebound. Headless Qigong player. So that's it. That is the basic bear walking from the 5 frolics of the bear, from the 5 animal frolics. Bear walking, I sort of did a quick thing on bear fighting. There's bear swinging. So bear goes to a key party. Bear, that was a joke. Anybody laugh? Sorry, bear swinging, bear turning, and bear pushing. Bear is standing underneath a street lamp in a dark city street. Another bad joke. So, we're going to start with drawing earth energy. So, you're going to be shoulder wide here. It's a nice comfortable stance. I'm going to do this 5 times. So, really imaging, drawing up that energy from the earth, settling it to the Shia Dantian. Here's 2. Settling it to the Shia Dantian. Here's 3. Keeping the breath through the nose here. 4. And at 5, turning that foot to the 45. Inhaling. Pausing after those exhales. Inhaling. Pause. Pause. I'm getting ahead of myself. So on this inhale, in this step, pulling the qi into the Shia Dantian, driving it to the shoulders. I'm going to move closer than I have, cutting off more of my upper body. But I want to see, I want you to see, be able to see this sort of shake, this shimmy, this bounce. It's going on, bouncing, vibrating down into the earth. Last one. Back foot comes in as the palms open up, turning into my straight line. And then final little rebound. Pulling the hands into the Dantian. Oh, I love the bear. So we're going to do that one more time before we call it a morning. So remember, throughout the nature and the spirit of the bear, that softness on the outside and that great power underneath, the strength, the solidity, the solidness the connection to the earth. You know, we talk about in our Tai Chi, one of the principles of Tai Chi is a principle known as walk like a bear. You don't see it everywhere, but it's out there. And some people will translate that as you're supposed to grip the ground with your toes like you have claws. Bears don't really do that, but bears are very solid, sinking into the earth. And to me, that's what that principle means in our Tai Chi, that you're sunk and rooted just simply by being in connection with the earth and relaxing and letting everything just sink. So I think the Bear Frolics is great also as not a therapeutic quality, but a training quality in your Tai Chi to help you develop your roots to the earth. Now, generally, that's what they say Qigong is for, that if you're playing Tai Chi, you become you become rooted into the earth, but it's more like the roots of a potted plant in the pot. Qigong breaks through the pot, allows your root to break through the pot and actually root into the earth. So anyway, so the other thing to keep in mind with our approach to the Five Animal Frolics is, aside from the fact that we're doing this in a linear fashion, and for us it really should be in a circular fashion. So if you have like a round dining room table or something, it's a good place. That's what I do here in the Median abode, is when I'm practicing the frolics, I usually walk around the dining room table. So I have that circle. By the way, when we do the animal frolics in the studio, what we do is we mark the circle. We have the 5 animals from the 5 Animal Frolics. Well, sort of, we have a heron, not a crane. And we set them up, one for the center, and then the other 4 animals hit the points of the compass. So we sort of map out our circle so we can all maintain the circle. So that's something that you can do too. You know, just put little landmarks to help you keep your round circle. But the other thing with the Animal Frolics is actually sort of incorporating what the Animal Frolics are supposed to be. And that is, it's not sort of, you know, if you know acting, you might know Konstantin Stanislavski, and he had this Stanislavski method, which was, what would I do if I were the character in these given circumstances? So it recognizes that you're not the character. What we want to be is not, what would I do if I were a bear doing this? It's, we are the bear, period. And to become the bear is really what is considered in our approach the Taoist aspect. That's really internalizing the animal and becoming the animal. And let me tell you that a lot of times, yes, the physicality is there. I hope you saw a little bit of bear as I was walking. But really it is transmitted or communicated through the eyes. The eyes really can let somebody know if you are that animal or not. The Buddhist qualities are everything else. The physicality, the nature and the spirit, because that's us thinking about the bear, are all considered the Buddhist qualities of the exercise. The way that we're stepping, the breath, the chi focus, all the Buddhist qualities. The only Taoist quality is becoming the animal. And I always suggest, go watch a documentary on bears. Right? Go watch a documentary on tigers or on birds or cranes or deer. It's a frolic we haven't done yet. And what am I leaving out? Monkeys. So one more pass of bear walking from the 5 frolics of the bear from the 5 animal frolics. So we're going to draw earth energy one more time. Feet shoulder wide, parallel. Inhalation, drawing the earth energy up, and exhalation, pulling it in the Shia Dantian. 2. 3. 'Again, just like fire and water, or water and fire mutually interact. I call that 4. From Tai Chi Qigong. Stationary set. Turning. Inhaling, driving chi to the Shia Dantian, pause. 3 exhalation, driving the chi to the shoulders, pause. Stepping flat-footed. 45. Inhalation, soft inhalation in through the nose. 3 sharp forced exhalation through the nose. Driving that movement down. It's a shake, it's a shimmy. Again, I'm going to get close to the camera. My second week with my new external microphone. I hope it's working fine. Squeeze in. 3 more steps. Remember the bear paws. Sort of folding the fingers and the thumbs in. Releasing a little bit. Last step. The back foot in is coming in. So remember, bear frolics aid in improving kidney functions, urinary and reproductive issues, assists in strengthening the spine, shoulders, and lower body. Remember the nature of the bear expressed in its soft exterior surrounding a great inner strength. The spirit is in its solidity and sturdiness. The qi on the inhalation to the xia dantian on the exhalation driven to the shoulders. And the movement very much in that downward theme. So there you go, bear walking. We are continuing with this series on Mondays for as long as we need to, as long as it is pertinent to do so. And doing everything I can, digging through different floor exercises and that sort of thing to keep these fresh. In other words, no exact repeats. And tend to be shuffling things tai chi with things Qigong. A lot of different possibilities between now and whenever. So there's that. Oh, you're welcome, Colette. And YouTube channel is not quite as original content because we discovered a couple of weeks ago that we can actually download these sessions and upload them to YouTube. And the YouTube channel was launched specifically because we knew there were folks out there in these programs that didn't do Facebook. So we launched the YouTube channel for that. So we're still going to sprinkle in. I did a couple of weeks ago, there was one on breathing and how to breathe deep, that sort of thing, and developing deep breathing. And there's another short one coming up. I don't think it will be this week. Got a big personal thing on my schedule this week that's going to take some time. So maybe next week we'll throw up some original content along with one of our old Facebook Live sessions. So there's that. And again, not sure where we are with the opening of the studio at this time. So stay safe. Stay aware. Keep wearing your mask. Please stay at home if you possibly can. If you can't, then wear a mask. Maintain physical distance. We got to get to the other side of this. And, you know, New York's doing well in comparison to others. Yes, I would really, 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 really like to be back in the library. I would really, 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 really like to have the studio open. But I also understand that neither of those things are especially a good idea right now. Because we got to keep the numbers down. We got to keep people safe, myself included. So anyway, there you go. Rich, you're welcome. And we will see you, well, Not you'll see me. I'll talk to you next time. So take care, everybody. Ta.